Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make my foil proxies for Magic the Gathering. Here on screen are some examples of what the finished product looks like. For this tutorial, you're going to need a bottle of acetone, and make sure it's 100% acetone because regular nail polish remover isn't strong enough. You're also going to need cotton pads or cotton balls, some two-sided tape, paper towels, and about $5 to take to your local print shop. Okay, let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is take a foil basic land or foil token and tape the back of the card to some paper towels so the card doesn't move around. And then we're going to take a cotton pad that's been lightly soaked in acetone, and we're going to just scrub the face of the card and remove all of that ink until we're left with a blank foil like this one that still has the magic card back. And once we have our foil blank ready for printing, the next thing we're going to do is make the actual card image that we're going to print onto it. We'll begin by downloading the appropriate fonts, link in the description, and the magic card template that we're going to be working off of, link in the description. And now that we have those fonts and templates, we're going to go ahead and head over to photop.com, which is like a free online Photoshop. Go ahead and open FPM's 8th edition Super Art template. Again, that link is in the description. And for this example, I'm going to be making a high tide because I saw a really nice piece of art on Pinterest and said to myself, wow, that would make a great high tide. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is get our image that we're going to be using for the card and just drag and drop it above this image that comes preloaded with the template. And we'll just delete that because we don't need it. And we'll select the transform controls and just stretch the image so that it fits the card. And then using the move tool, we're going to use the arrow keys to just adjust the image and put it where we want it to be. Next thing we're going to do before we start editing any of the text on the card is that we're going to go to the text tool, and then this drop down menu, we can load font. And then we're going to go ahead and load all of the fonts that I've linked in the description. For this tutorial, you're going to need Magic Symbols, Matrix B, and M Plantin. And then just go ahead and select all of those and hit open. Once you have those, go over to text, select the title, unlock it by clicking that padlock, and then just click on the name and change it to High Tide. Next, we can adjust the card type, change that sorcery to an instant, and finally change the rules text. And the template is expecting a different type of plantain than the one that we've loaded, but that's perfectly fine. They're identical, they're just named different. So what we're going to do is go to Scryfall and look up High Tide, and once we have the High Tide text, we will just copy and paste it right onto the card so that there's no chance that we'll accidentally put the wrong text on the card. So once we have that, we can just change the rules text font to M Plantin and it fixes it. Next thing we want to do is adjust the mana cost so that it is only 1 blue. And to do that, we need to select the mana cost in the top right using the text tool. And what's going to happen is it's going to change so that it looks like this. And to use the mana cost font, you simply need to type an O in front of whatever number or Wooburg symbol you want to be using. For example, if I wanted to change the generic cost to a 3, I would just do that. And let's say I wanted this card to cost 3 generic, a black and a green. I would just change that to a B and a G, and then since this template comes with a handy dandy color palette right there that we can switch on at the top, we can go ahead and select this O, go to the color picker, and using our palette we can change that to this light black that it has ready for us here, and then we can go over to green, change that O to the light green color that it has for us right there, and then we can turn off this color palette so it's not visible on the final card and go over to our fonts. And with this layer selected, we can go down to Magic Symbols and change the font to Magic Symbols, and we have 3 black and a green. And to change it back to the symbol that we need, we just click on mana cost, we select any other font, we delete the ones we don't need, and we change it to OU. We pull up that color palette again, we change the color of the O to this blue that it has for us, then we switch off the color swatch, and we go back to the font selector and change it to a blue. Next thing we want to do is change the frame to solid blue instead of this blue-red gradient. So we're going to go down to Frames, select WooBurg, turn gold off, expand the WooBurg folder, turn these off, and select blue. And for future reference, if you want to use 2 colors or more, all you need to do is select the colors that you want to use, for example, blue-black, and then make sure that this thing right here that comes preloaded in the template is called a raster mask. Make sure this is enabled and turned on, and that will give you this color gradient that you want. So we'll just switch those off because we only want mono blue. Now, because I like this art so much, I'm actually going to shorten this frame to expose even more of this art. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our text layer, the rules text, and with the move tool selected, we're going to use the arrow keys to move the text down to the bottom of the frame. Then what we're going to do is go back to Frames, open up the WooBurg folder, select our blue frame, and with our rectangle select tool here, we're going to select just the very top of this frame, and then we're going to hit Control X and Control V to cut it and then create a new layer, a separate layer. And then we're going to take our new layer with the move tool selected, using the arrow key, we're going to move it down. And then we're going to select the original blue layer using the rectangle select. We're going to select all of this excess frame that we don't need and just delete it. Okay. Then using the move tool, we're going to go back to text, select the card type, and move that instant down so that it fits nicely onto our type bar right there. We could call this done, but I like this art a lot and I want to expose the art a little bit more and even give it a little bit of a 3D effect. So what I'm going to do is select the eraser tool, set the hardness to 0%, turn up the size to about 20, and then I'm going to go over to the top of this frame here and I'm going to chisel out the top of this chalice thing that she's holding up and a little bit of that stone hand. So we're going to go to Frames, have blue selected, and we're going to turn the opacity down to 65%, and then I'm going to fast forward through this part, but basically all I'm doing is just chiseling out this hand so that it is on top of, it appears to be on top of the frame. Okay, so this looks good to me. I'm going to call this one finished. I'm going to go ahead and go to File and Export as a PNG. And now what we can do is load this onto a Google Doc and change the size so that it is 2.5 inches width, 3.5 inches length, and it is ready for printing. Once we have this ready, we can go ahead and load it onto a USB file and head down to our local print shop. For me, that is a FedEx office. After you get there, just ask one of the employees for some transparent sticker paper, and then go ahead and print your file onto that page. And then using their tabletop rotary paper cutter, we're going to cut out each individual card if we have more than one on the page. As you'll see here, we're only doing a rough cut right now. We're intentionally leaving some excess space that we'll trim off later. Now we're going to peel off the glossy layer and place it down on a flat surface with the sticky side up. I find this part easier to do if I start at a corner and use my thumb. Now we're going to take our foil card that we blanked with acetone and then very carefully line it up with the card's image and then just press it straight down. And then I just did this next part off camera, but you just want to go ahead and take a pair of scissors and trim off any excess that still might be there and trim out the round corners. And that's it. Now you have a beautiful foil proxy that you can play with in any of your decks. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.